Can a love continue as a purely platonic one, where you love someone only with your mind? Or is it that, as time progresses, you want something more from the person you love? What happens when you know the person you love can never be yours physically? Should you just leave the person? But if you can't, you are a slave of your primal desires and playing a dangerous game that can lead you to bizarre and frightening ends. Bhaskar Hazarika's Aamis opens as a sweet tale of love, like Lunchbox as it tries to answer the above-mentioned questions, while depicting two persons bonding over sharing their love for food, but soon takes a turn and becomes a spine-chilling thriller that will leave you numb by the time it ends. Hi there, this is Cinema is the Language. Welcome to our channel. Today we are going to review Aamis, an Assamese movie written and directed by Bhaskar Hazarika. First of all, this is an awesome movie that every cinema lover should watch, especially because this is first of its kind in India. So please go and watch this movie as this review contains spoilers. There's a problem though, cause you won't be able to find this movie in any popular streaming platforms. However, you can go to moviesaints.com where it is currently streaming. So let's go into the details, shall we? Aamis literally means non-veg food. Here, a PhD student Sushovan, played by Arghodip Borua, and a doctor in her late 30s with a preteen boy, Nirmali, played by Lima Dash, comes closer through their mutual love for meat. It starts when Sushovan visits Nirmali to ask her to treat his friend who was suffering from stomachache. Nirmali says it's not meat but rather gluttony that caused the problem. Probably while saying this, she just foretold what's going to be her own fate. However, Sushovan mentions that he is doing his research on different meat-eating practices of the Northeast India. Nirmali shows her eagerness to taste different kinds of meat, and from this, their unique and bizarre love story starts. While analyzing this movie, we will do this by discussing a few themes that we think are prevalent in Aamis. First of all, love. The theme of Na umr ki seema ho, na janmo ki ho bandhan is not new in cinema, but still this love is unique, mainly in the way these two lovers approach their love. Also, there is a very important role reversal of the gender. Nirmali is more mature and employed as well, so naturally, she has more experience of life and love. Sushovan, on the other hand, is experiencing sort of his first passionate love experience. Nirmali's emotions are thus more controlled as opposed to Sushovan's, as he starts to lose all his focus trying to divert all his energies and attention to Nirmali, trying to please her as much as he could. And he does so by meat. So, he started with regular meat and went on to more unconventional and forbidden ones like rabbit and bat. Sushovan derives his pleasure from feeding Nirmali with all those exotic meat, and Nirmali does so by eating them. This eating out gradually becomes a sort of substitute for actual date, forbidden meat becoming the alternative for forbidden relationship they are having. Second, relationship. Their love at this point is still at its innocent stage, and it is mainly depicted through WhatsApp chats and their smiles and their eating rituals. Sushovan tries to hide his feeling, but his innocent eyes gives it away. Nirmali, being the mature one, sees in his eyes from the very beginning but tries to ignore it. She knows that she is married and has a child, and moreover, log kya kahenge. In fact, she is thoroughly critical of her friend's affair. Sushovan can very well guess the incompleteness of his love as well. Nirmali is incomplete too, if not physically, then emotionally for sure. When we are introduced to her husband, we find him as a self-righteous person. He regards his toils and humanitarian deeds in villages as noble and keeps himself busy there, and pays very little attention to the emotional needs of his wife. This is shown very well in the scene where Sushovan is invited to their house party. Nirmali's husband Dilip is surrounded by his ardent admirers who are full with praises for their loving Dilipda. Sushovan's eyes, on the other hand, cherishes a little glimpse of Nirmali. Third, sex. From the halfway stage, we start to get the feel that this seemingly innocent-looking love is not so innocent, and like any other love, the lovers are trying to find their completeness in physicality. But they never communicate their cravings to each other, even they are fearful to admit it themselves. In a scene, Sushovan googles platonic love and tries to equate his love for Nirmali to platonic ideals. In fact, Until the last scene, they never touch each other. But he has already started imagining Nirmali's physical presence. In the party mentioned above, we find him stealthily smelling Nirmali's blouse. He tries to find alternate ways like this to fulfill his cravings. Fourth, obsession. Their attachment to each other only grows day by day, and the inability to be together make them obsessed. Shuman becomes obsessed with cooking meat for Nirmali and Nirmali with eating meat. It goes to that extent where it becomes a severe form of addiction, but still Shuman is incomplete. What must he do to be one with Nirmali to feel that final moment of togetherness? In a weird turn of events, he decides to feed Nirmali his own flesh. He manages to convince his friend, who is a doctor, to cut a little portion of his thigh, cooks it and makes Nirmali eat it, and he symbolically gets Nirmali as his own. Finally, he is able to get inside Nirmali in this weird sort of way. But this climactic moment only leads them to a darker zone. Fifth, addiction. From this time onwards, Aamis becomes a movie about addiction. Nirmali grows a kind of insatiable hunger for meat, but by this time, this hunger has already become not a hunger for any kind of meat, but human meat. Shuman was addicted from the very beginning, and anyone can see that in his eyes. He was addicted to Nirmali, a love that he can never get. No matter how much harder Nirmali tries, but she cannot concentrate in anything. She started showing symptoms any drug addict would show if they cannot find their drug. Shuman is ready to cut his whole body to feed Nirmali, but that certainly cannot be the way. Their quest for human meat leads them to a morgue where a fresh dead body has arrived, but they fail to take any meat from it. And finally, it is for this addiction that Shuman eventually kills an innocent rickshaw puller, a crime he would never be able to hide. They are arrested, the news breaks out, and the movie goes for a very quick wrap-up. This is the whole story of Aamis, and if we are to analyze it, the plot can be broadly divided into two parts. The first part is where the tender romance between this couple is shown, and their love over the exchange of meals lovingly cooked for the beloved would definitely remind you of another masterpiece, The Lunchbox. The fact that Nirmali was married and their relationship was adulterous, but pure at the same time, and the poetic way it was portrayed reminded me of Onkar Wise in The Mood for Love. Both writing and direction-wise, this part is just brilliant, and Bhaskar Hazarika's genius can be seen in each scene. Also, the lead actors did a great job, considering the fact that it was their first work for screen. Lima Das is a doctor herself and a trained classical dancer, but never for a second you would find her clumsy. She is a naturally gifted actress. Orghodip Borua's face speaks a lot. His mannerisms are sorted and his face is calm, but his eyes gives the impression of the madness of his soul. From the second half, the movie starts to lose its grip on the plot. Their romance was built up little by little with utmost care, but the same cannot be said about the late arrival of cannibalism and a murder. We saw a boy becoming restless and mad at the first arrival of love in his life, but we certainly did not see a cold-hearted killer. Also, I did not like the way Aamis was wrapped up in a hurry. The smooth beginning deserved a little more time to linger on. At this point, you would start to imagine whether Nirmali used Shuman for her own selfish needs, but the last scene where their fingers touch for the first time reaffirms the fact that they were in love, which cannot be fulfilled for many reasons, and Aamis is primarily about love. In an interview, Bhaskar Hazarika says that the cannibalism part was only there as a shock factor, and it's not Amis's primary premise. Finally, Aamis is a brilliant movie and first of its kind in India. Considering the fact that it was made with relatively newcomers at the movie-making arena and a spoonful of budget, it is definitely a masterpiece. But again, this movie is not for everyone. You have to be very open about your moral bent, otherwise you won't be able to grasp the beauty of it. It challenges your ideas about eating habits and human relationships and reiterates the fact that there are no ultimate way to judge. Shuman researching about the unusual food habits of the Northeast and making it normal also urges to its audience to see Northeast as part of Indian culture, as they are generally subjected to ridicule by a certain section of the society. So please watch this brilliant work of art and let us know about your thoughts in the comment section. Also feel free to write what do you feel about our work in general. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We shall be back with a new movie soon. Till then, goodbye and take care.